I'm kinda doing a bad job at tracking the dates for anything, and had to double check. But I'm pretty sure it's been 9 months since I set up this little 5-gallon aquarium that I got for free. If you have been keeping up with this series, thank you! But apologies, as there isn't actually any set uploading schedule for these videos, so they're kinda sporadic. If you are new here, welcome! I recommend watching the original setup video, but I'll give a quick recap up to this point. I started this with absolutely no plans. I was given a 5-gallon aquarium and decided I wanted to try a dirted tank experiment, and I didn't want to spend any money. All the ingredients were naturally foraged from a lake just a few minutes from where I live, and were thoroughly washed and pre-soaked before using them. I used soil that was just lying around in my garage to create a small bottom layer, then topped off with sand from the beach, and added driftwood I found at the same lake. All the plants started out from some clippings that were either floating around in my community tanks or free goldfish chew donations from the local fish store, which have really taken off. This tank is also a very low-tech tank with no filter. Filtration is done through the amount of plants, along with small weekly water changes. There is a heater here to keep temps steady and comfortable for tropical fish, as well as a small bubbler, which is mostly just to create a bit of movement and keep a film from forming on the top. Originally, I didn't even have any plans for what would call this setup home. I kinda just wanted to build something nice and natural, and then see what fit it once it was finished. After attempting some test shrimp that didn't make it past the first molt, I let the water sit even longer. During the time I was trying to let things grow, my honey gourami in my community tank were spawning, so I took some of the eggs and tossed them in here. Like the rest of this, the baby fish weren't planned, but in the end I ended up having 7 little honey gourami. While growing the honey gourami, I made the decision that this 5-gallon would eventually be the permanent home for a couple little sparkling gourami. When the local fish store finally had some in stock, I moved the small honey gourami into the community tank and brought home 3 tiny pygmy gourami of unknown gender. I've got a playlist of the past videos if you would like any more detail about anything I've skimmed over so far, but that brings us up to date at this point. I've only had these sparkling gourami for a relatively short amount of time so far, but they have already grown so much. I'm still not 100% sure yet, but I believe I may have 2 male and a female, but I'm most likely wrong. When I brought them home, they were all about the same size, but one of them grew very quickly and has more than doubled in size. The middle-sized one has also grown quite a bit. I believe these 2 are the males. The last little one, while it has grown, is still much smaller than the other 2, and I think it could be a female, though it's harder to tell when they are still young. The largest was always swimming around in the front of the tank and very active, so I named it Zoomer. To give them matching names, I named the middle fish Boomer, and the little one that was always hiding is called Doomer. Zoomer is very colorful, with bright blue sparkles and red-tipped fins, matching bright blue eyes. He likes to zoom around and squeeze through the plants, showing off his pretty fins to the others, making sure they know he's boss. Boomer is also nice and colorful, but since he tends to stay in the back more, I don't really see him as much. Little Doomer is more pale than the others. This could either be because it's still a smaller fish, or also because of the possibility of it being female. While Boomer does get chased out of the front once in a while, from what I've seen, Zoomer doesn't seem to mind Doomer as much, adding to why I think it's female. I've been feeding the little guys mostly on crushed up dry foods like tropical flakes or fluval bug bites, and have also offered live baby brine shrimps a few times, which they went crazy for. I also see them constantly hunting around for any microfauna that might be scurrying around on the plants and driftwood. Since finding the shrimp in the last update video, I had found a couple of others, both males and females taking turns showing up before disappearing again. It looked like the shrimp experiment might actually be successful this time. Or so I thought. Until I found another female shrimp that didn't make it. But this one looked eaten. Oh well, probably just the snails cleaning up, and I'm sure if a shrimpy died, the gourami would probably have some too. That was when I actually found a gourami eating another nearly full-grown male shrimp. The gourami wasn't much larger than the shrimp itself, but that didn't stop it, I guess. And that concludes the shrimp test. Even if the water is suitable for shrimps, and I know they can be kept together, my gourami just aren't going to let it happen. I even watched one of the gourami attacking a snail. I want to briefly update on the honey gourami that used to live in this little tank. They are all doing great in the community tank, with mom and dad gourami. The largest of them are now slightly bigger than my harlequin rasbora, while the smallest is still only about the size of a male ember tetra. Custard and cream are still spawning on a fairly regular basis, though the eggs are usually eaten within minutes. And then I found another baby honey gourami. I randomly decided to put a handful of eggs in with the assassin snails and shrimps, thinking they'll just be eaten either way, and as I thought, the eggs were gone, with no signs of fish the next day. But then a couple weeks later, when I was cleaning up and doing a water change, I found a little fry. Just a single little baby. As of writing the script, the little baby has already been moved into the community with the other honey gourami. Then I started thinking I was losing my mind. I kept hearing something that I actually thought was an opera browser sound, even though my computer was off. I even muted all my devices, but I couldn't find the sound and thought I was crazy. But I'm not crazy. The fish are making the sounds. I know sparkling gourami are also known as croaking gourami because of the sounds they make. But I had never heard it before, so I didn't even consider that. It was much louder than I thought it would be, and honestly sounded like it was coming from my computer speakers. I didn't think they would be making the sounds already. I thought it would have taken quite a bit more time before I heard it, and I didn't think they would make it so often either. These gourami are incredibly shy and don't usually like coming out in front of the camera either. So it's been a little harder getting some decent video clips of them. That also goes for trying to record the croaking sounds. I was hearing the sound all morning one day, so I decided to set up a phone camera to record while I was cleaning up around the house. Out of the 2 hours of video that I saved, I only managed to catch the sound once. I also decided it was about time that I trimmed back some of the plants. I thinned out a bunch of the stem plants, which will be used in another tank that I'm setting up for a friend, and also decided that I wanted to pull out a bunch of the dwarf sedge grass in the front to try and let a little more light in for the cryptocorn that were getting smothered out. Each of the little gourami has claimed a corner of the tank, and generally there isn't any fighting. Even if there is, it's a small squabble where they show off and then chase the other away. I have seen Boomer with a nipped fin, but so far it was only a one-time thing that quickly healed. Even though this aquarium experiment will continue to change and grow, I think I'm going to mostly count it as finished. Getting the permanent inhabitants in here finally means that really there isn't too much else to do other than just continue caring for my fish in their little natural-ish home. I don't know how often I will be uploading them, as I don't know if there's really going to be any more major changes, but I will continue to upload update videos for those interested in watching more. That's going to be it for this update, and I hope you enjoyed the footage of my adorable new fish. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.